You're not losing in one big moment. You're bleeding slowly, in silence, without really knowing when it started. You win, then give it back. And the truth you haven't faced yet is, it's not the market, it's how you've been stepping into trading all along. I traded away more than 10 years. More than 10 years sitting motionless in front of a computer screen, watching red and green candles move in silence. More than 10 years with my heartbeat thrown off by every tremor of price. And in all that time, I tasted every state a trader is forced to pass through. From exhilaration bordering on arrogance, believing I had touched the core of the market, to collapse, exhaustion, and despair. I blew accounts in a single night. I held losing positions until dawn, sleepless, staring as the glaring red negative number swelled little by little. I told myself that if price would just turn back, everything could be recovered. But what always waited was the cold, ruthless zero. There were mornings when I made what amounted to a month's salary in just a few hours. And there were moments when I lost an entire year of savings because of one wrong click. After all the losses, the prices paid, the long nights soaked in sweat, even tears, I slowly came to understand one truth. If I had known what I'm about to tell you today from the very first day I stepped into trading, perhaps I would not have had to trade away 10 years of my life, repeating that deadly cycle over and over, winning, then losing, illusion, then collapse. Many come to trading with a burning dream, a dream of financial freedom, freedom of time, freedom of life. I was once the same. I believed I was smart enough, different enough, destined to stand among the few who succeed. I believed that if I just pushed a little harder, learned a few more formulas dressed up as holy grails, or uncovered some hidden secret, the doors to wealth would open on their own. But the market taught me a harsh lesson. It crushed my pride, tore apart every illusion, and laid bare the deepest layers of human nature. Trading is not a shortcut to instant wealth. It is a long war, where the ones who survive are not necessarily the smartest, but those with discipline, inner strength, and patience. And that is why I am here, to tell you the things it took me more than 10 years to truly absorb. What I'm about to share is not glossy theory from books, not the sweet promises you see everywhere online. This is the truth. A truth that, if you understand and remember it, can help you avoid many of the ruts I paid for with blood, with tears, and with my youth. That is also why Quiet Trading was created. I did not start this channel to sell dreams. I am not here to lull you to sleep with hollow visions of riches. I am here to recount real experiences, the hard-earned lessons the market carved into me. If you are new, what you hear today may save you tens of thousands of dollars and thousands of hours of your life, sparing you from repeating old lessons. If you are a seasoned trader, you may recognize yourself in the stories ahead. And if you are truly serious about the trading path, I invite you to walk alongside Quiet Trading, to share, to learn together, and most importantly, so that no one has to fight this battle alone. The day I first stepped into trading, I was no different from most people. Inside me was a rather beautiful illusion that this was the shortest path to wealth and freedom. I believed that all it took was a computer, a stable internet connection, and a few mouse clicks to cross into a different world, a place where money flowed endlessly, where I no longer had to work 8 hours a day, no longer answer to anyone. I thought trading was a one-way ticket out of the grind of survival. The first time I won big, the feeling was stronger than the joy of receiving a paycheck. In just a few hours, my account balance doubled. I sat there staring at the number filled with self-satisfaction. I believed I had touched a secret the majority had not yet seen. I held my head high, as if I had stepped into another class of people, those who make money with their minds, quickly and effortlessly. But that very moment was also when I fell into a massive trap, because that first victory did not come from skill, it was simply luck. And in trading, luck is the most ruthless thing of all. It gives you the feeling that you possess a special ability only to take everything back, often more than it ever gave, once the truth reveals itself. I began to daydream. I thought that in just a few more months, I could quit my job and live entirely on trading. I imagined myself sitting in an elegant cafe, opening my laptop, placing a few trades, then leisurely enjoying life. My mind filled with sweet scenarios, buying a car, buying a house, taking my family everywhere. I was convinced that trading was the fastest way to turn everything into reality. Then, like so many others, I fell into the spiral of chart addiction. I opened my eyes in the morning and rushed to check price. Before sleep at night, I turned on my phone to see how the latest candle had closed. I began to tie my fate to every small fluctuation of the market. A green candle sent me soaring as if I had just won the lottery. A long red candle was enough to drag my heart to the bottom. I let emotion lead the way, letting greed and fear make decisions in place of reason. And it didn't take long before my accounts started to bleed. The money I believed would multiply quickly vanished in just a few days. Bitterly, I deposited more, hoping that if I could just get this one trade right, I would recover everything. But that so-called "this time" never came. I lost. I tried to win it back. Then I lost again and deposited again. That loop devoured me, not only my money, but my spirit. Do you know what the most terrifying part is? It isn't losing money. The most frightening thing is losing faith in yourself. Looking back and realizing that every plan, every dream, every ounce of confidence you once had was nothing but an illusion. Trading made me doubt myself, feel small, powerless, and foolish. But the truth is, this is a stage that almost everyone must pass through. Anyone who enters trading carries sweet illusions with them. The illusion that finding a holy grail method will make everything simple. The illusion that reading enough news will allow you to predict the market. The illusion that being just a little smarter than others will soon place you among the few who succeed. The market doesn't care who you are, where you studied, or how intelligent you think you are. Its only job is to crush illusions, and it will repeat that job until you truly wake up. Looking back on that period, I see myself like a blind man lost in thick fog. I chased the light I believed was an escape, when in reality it was just another trap waiting ahead. I had no strategy, no discipline. I had only one thing: greed. And it was that greed that burned everything to the ground.
After many stumbles, I gradually came to understand that trading is not a road paved with roses, as I once believed. It is a journey full of traps, where every step taken in the wrong direction must be paid for with money, with time, and with mental endurance. And the most dangerous thing is not the loss of money itself, but the early illusions that take root so deeply that you refuse to let go. You keep believing that if you just try a little harder, if the next time luck is on your side, everything can be recovered. But no, it is precisely that vicious loop that has buried most people who step into trading. Those illusions left countless wounds on me, some large, some small, and from there I began to see where the truth really lay. A cold, harsh truth, yet the only foundation on which long-term survival in the market is possible. And now I will tell you the hard-earned lessons I drew from more than 10 years, lessons paid for with sweat, with tears, and with money that was lost forever, never to return. The first lesson: there is no trade that is guaranteed to win. In my early days, I always believed that if I could find a perfect method, I would win in every situation. I threw myself into every kind of strategy, indicator, and so-called Holy Grail method. I memorized every formula, every signal, telling myself that this time was certain. But the market kept leaving me stunned. The things I believed could not be wrong turned into bitter mistakes. There is nothing absolute in the market. Every signal, every pattern, every analysis is only probability. The moment you believe you are guaranteed to win, you will go all in, and the price you pay will be enormous. The naked truth is that certainty does not exist in trading. Those who survive are not the ones who find an infallible secret, but those who are always ready to face the possibility of being wrong. The second lesson: discipline matters more than genius. I have met traders who were extremely intelligent. They analyzed sharply, understood the market deeply, and at times even predicted price direction with impressive accuracy. Yet I also witnessed them lose everything simply because they lacked discipline. I was no exception. There was a time I entered a trade with a clear plan, with a maximum loss capped at 10%. But when price moved against me, I refused to cut the loss. I held on, I hoped, I reassured myself that if price just ticked up a little bit, I could escape. And then my account nearly evaporated. Trading is a game of discipline. Without discipline, intelligence becomes a burden, because the smarter you are, the better you become at rationalizing and deceiving yourself. The third lesson: capital management is everything. I once had streaks where my analysis was right 5 or 6 trades in a row. My account grew rapidly, and I thought I had truly reached another level. But it took just one wrong trade with too much capital committed, and within minutes all previous gains disappeared completely. I realized a painful truth: no one dies from losing one small trade. People collapse only when they put everything into a single trade. Risk management is not a side element, it is the foundation. You can be wrong many times, but if your capital is managed correctly, you stay alive. And staying alive means you still have a chance. The fourth lesson: the market does not care who you are. There was a period when I became arrogant. I thought I was different, educated, well-read, sharp in analysis, and believed that was enough for the market to respect me. But with just one unexpected candle, the market swallowed that self-satisfaction whole. The market does not care where you studied or whether you are self-taught. It does not care how many times you have won. It simply does what it wants, and if you cannot accept that, you will pay the price. The fifth lesson: losses are tuition. Each time I blew an account, I used to comfort myself by saying it was fine, it was tuition. But tuition only has meaning when you actually learn something. If you repeat the same mistake, it is no longer tuition, it is waste. I lost a great deal simply because I refused to record my trades, refused to draw lessons from the previous time. And eventually, I understood this: a loss is only valuable when you write it down, analyze it again, and truly extract the lesson. Otherwise, you are just throwing money into a bottomless pit. The sixth lesson: news is only an excuse. In my early days, I believed that closely following economic news would allow me to stay ahead of the market. I read every headline, every report, every forecast. Yet the more I read, the more confused my mind became. Sometimes good news came out and price plunged. Other times bad news appeared and price surged. Gradually, I understood that price follows money flow, not the words printed in the news. News is merely an excuse for buy and sell decisions that were already prepared in advance. A small retail trader like me is only ever the one chasing from behind. From that point on, I learned to observe price action instead of chasing every piece of news, because the market always reflects the truth long before the media speaks. The seventh lesson: psychology is the silent killer. There was a time I entered a trade that looked perfect: thorough analysis, clear entry, everything in place. But when price began to move against me, my heart started pounding, my hands shook, sweat broke out. In a moment of panic, I misclicked and deleted my stop loss.
Just a few minutes later, the entire plan collapsed. I realized that trading is not only a game of numbers, it is a game of emotions. If you do not train your psychology, you will destroy your own plans. The market does not need to act. Fear, greed, and weakness will do it for you. The 8th lesson: trading does not make you rich quickly, but it can make you poor very quickly. There was a period when I believed that just a few years would be enough to make me wealthy through trading. I ignored every warning. But the truth is, trading did not make me rich, at least not in a short time. On the contrary, just a few wrong decisions were enough to sweep away all the money I had saved over many years. Trading can lead to financial freedom, but only for those patient enough to walk the long road. If you enter with the mindset of getting rich quickly, the market will teach you a very expensive lesson. The 9th lesson: a trading journal is worth more than gold. For many years, I traded without writing anything down. I thought I remembered everything, and so I repeated the same mistakes again and again. Only when I began keeping a trading journal, things slowly changed. Every winning trade, every losing trade, the reason for entry, the emotions at the time, everything was recorded. Reading it back, I could see bad habits and fatal weaknesses I had never noticed before. A journal is a mirror. It reflects who I truly am, not the image I paint for myself. The 10th lesson: in the end, trading is a journey of understanding yourself. After 10 years, I realized that trading does not only teach you about the market, it teaches you about yourself. It shows you how greedy you are, how fearful you can be, how long you can stay patient, and how easily you abandon discipline. Trading is like a mirror that looks straight back at you. It exposes the deepest corners of who you are, and only when you are willing to face yourself can you survive this game.
Those 10 lessons are not just theory to me. They are scars carved deep across 10 years of my life, and every time I recall them, I still feel the sting. Yet it is precisely those scars that forge the calm, resilience, and patience that allow me to stand here today and speak to you. Looking back on that 10-year journey, I understand that what kills a trader is not a lack of knowledge, but illusion and complacency. I once believed in a guaranteed trade. I still remember clearly one night trading gold. The news was supportive, the technical setup was perfect. I told myself it couldn't be wrong. I committed nearly all my capital to the trade without placing a stop loss, and just minutes later, price violently snapped back. The account evaporated so fast I could barely breathe. That night, I stayed awake, staring at the screen, my hands trembling with every beat. The moment you believe you are certainly right is exactly the moment you begin to be wrong. There were periods when I won 6 trades in a row and my account doubled. I felt lightheaded, convinced I had touched the market's secret. Then, with just one single trade, I put all the profits into it, hoping that if I won one more time, I could step away for a long while. But the market did not give me that chance. It reversed and wiped out everything I had gained before. I sat, frozen, feeling as if all the strength had been drained from me. Only then did it truly sink in. No one collapses from losing one small trade. People collapse only when they bet everything. I was arrogant too. I thought I had knowledge, analysis, a perspective different from others. But the market does not care who you are. It does not care where you studied or how skilled you think you are. One unexpected move is enough for it to crush all self-satisfaction. Sitting in front of the screen, I understood that here, everyone is equal. You are not just facing a chart. You are facing millions of other people out there, and the most painful enemy of all is psychology. I had trades where the analysis was spot on, yet the moment price moved slightly against me, my heart raced, sweat soaked my back. I started deleting stop losses, telling myself the market was just trying to scare me. But it was not scaring me. It moved straight against me and tore the account apart. The market does not need to lift a finger. Fear,
Greed and a lack of discipline will execute you on their own. I went through many sleepless nights, eyes bloodshot, staring at charts until exhaustion, simply because I could not control my emotions. For a long time, I even deceived myself. I lost money and called it tuition. But the truth is, tuition only matters when you actually learn something from it. I deposited money and blew it, then deposited again and blew it again. The mistake repeated itself like a circle with no exit. Only when I began keeping a trading journal did things slowly change. Looking back at each trade, each emotion, each reason for entry, I realized I lost far more because of impatience, because of fear of missing out, than because my analysis was wrong. The journal became a mirror that exposed me completely, leaving no room for excuses. And there was one harsh truth I had to accept. Trading does not make you rich quickly, but it can make you poor very quickly. I once dreamed that just a few years would give me everything. In reality, only a few days of mistakes were enough for the market to take away what I had saved over many years. Only when I let go of the illusion of getting rich fast did I learn how to walk the long road and truly understand that trading is a path of training, not a game of luck. Those 10 years, to me, trading was like a massive mirror. It showed no mercy. It forced me to look straight at who I really was. Greedy, fearful, weak, impulsive. It exposed everything I had tried to hide. And only when I dared to face that mirror did I truly begin to grow. I did not learn these lessons from books, and no one taught them to me. I paid them with money, with sweat, with tears, and with long nights of despair. They are carved into me like scars, and it is precisely those scars that forged the calm, humility, and endurance that allow me to still be here today. But then came a fall, a devastating fall that nearly erased everything. It was the deepest wound, the most painful one, and also the turning point that forced me to change. And now, I want to tell you about that collapse. I still remember that fateful night vividly. A stifling summer night, the small room filled only with the creaking sound of an old fan. On the screen, red and green candles flickered like cold blades slicing straight into my eyes. I had prepared for this trade all week. I read the news, analyzed the chart, built a detailed plan. Confidence filled me. I believed this would be the biggest strike of my trading career. When I pressed the button to enter the trade, my heart pounded. Blood rushed to my face. The account had grown quite large after many consecutive months, and I made a fatal mistake. I committed almost all to that trade. I told myself if I won just this one time, my life would turn to a new page. At first, price moved in the right direction. The profit number jumped on the screen, and a heat rose inside my chest. I pictured myself quitting my job, becoming free, telling my friends that I had finally made it. I took a sip of coffee, leaned back in my chair, and smiled. Then, the market suddenly changed direction. At first, it was just a small pullback. I remained calm. I told myself it was nothing, just a correction, but the red candles kept stretching longer. Percent by percent, the profit dissolved. Green numbers turned red. I sprang to my feet, hands shaking, eyes locked onto the screen. I refused to cut the loss. I moved the stop loss. I clung on. I prayed. Sweat poured down my body, my heart pounding as if it might burst. I muttered to myself, "It will come back. It has to come back," but it didn't. The market charged like a wild animal that had broken free. The further it fell, the faster and more ruthless it became. My account evaporated minute by minute. Fear tightened its grip, yet I still tried to hold on. I thought I just needed to endure a little longer. That night, I heard nothing but the sound of my own heartbeat. Time disappeared. There were only endless red candles, like blades cutting deeper and deeper into my flesh. And then the words "margin call" appeared on the screen. I froze. The account was empty. Years of effort vanished in a single night. I sat there in the dark room, my eyes burning dry from exhaustion. Outside the window, the city was still lit up. People were still living, still laughing, still loving. And inside me was only a vast emptiness, a hollow so deep that I no longer knew who I was or what I was living for.
That night, for the first time, I cried. I didn't cry for the money. I cried because I realized I had allowed my entire life to revolve around a game I could not control. I cried because I saw myself as foolish, arrogant, and blind. And in that moment of despair, I understood one thing. If I wanted to continue, I had no choice but to change. That fall was as painful as a bone-breaking blow, but it was also that very fall that saved me. It forced me to wake up. It forced me to face the truth. From that night on, I was no longer the arrogant man chasing dreams of getting rich fast. I started over with very small steps, with discipline, with hard-earned lessons I had once taken lightly. And perhaps without that fall, I would not be sitting here today telling you this story. After that fateful collapse, I sat down and looked straight at myself, and for the first time in many years, I stopped asking how to win, how to make as much money as possible. Instead, I asked what truly matters in trading. I realized that the most important thing is not finding a perfect method, because nothing in this world is absolute. Every method works sometimes and fails at others. What matters is whether you have the discipline to follow it over the long term, or whether you abandon it after just a few consecutive losses. I also understood that trading is not a sprint, but a long, enduring journey. The successful trader is not the one who wins big in a single night, but the one who survives through thousands of trading sessions. Survival is the only real victory. The next crucial realization was that capital management is not secondary, it is the foundation. You can be wrong many times, but if you control risk, you still have a chance to start again. Once you put everything into a single trade, you have no chance left. The market needs only a small tremor to erase you completely. And above all, trading is a journey of self-understanding. The market is like a mirror. It reflects your greed, your fear, and your lack of patience. It never lies. Every losing trade is a reminder of where you were wrong and where you are weak. And only when you are willing to face that truth can you truly grow. Trading did not make me rich quickly, but it taught me patience. It taught me humility, discipline, and the understanding that sometimes doing nothing is also the right choice. Trading showed me that loss is not the end, but an opportunity to learn how to stand again. Today, looking back on the road I've walked, I realized that the most valuable thing trading gave me was not money, but self-understanding. The ability to remain calm amid chaos, the strength to not collapse after hard falls. And it is precisely these things that form the foundation for a trader to survive and grow. In the end, trading is not a game to get rich quickly. It is a journey of self-discipline, and if you are truly serious, it will turn you into a different version of yourself, steadier, stronger, and clearer-minded. If you are listening up to this point, perhaps you are already on the trading path, or at least thinking about starting. I don't know which stage you are in, whether you are new, with eyes still full of hope, or someone who has tasted bitterness many times. But I know one thing for certain: this journey is not easy. Trading is not a place to seek excitement. It is not a magical money printing machine. It is a long, silent, and brutal battle. And your greatest enemy is always yourself. There will be times when you believe you are absolutely right, and that is exactly when the market will teach you a painful lesson. There will be days when you win trade after trade, feeling invincible, only for one wrong trade to make everything collapse. You will go through long nights of restlessness, anxiety, frustration, watching your account bleed red without knowing what to do. And it is in those moments that you will see yourself most clearly. I am not saying these things to scare you, but to prepare you, because if you are willing to face reality, to train yourself, and to hold discipline, trading will not only give you money, it will give you resilience. It will give you the ability to stand firm in storms, to control your emotions, and to face failure without falling apart.
If you are just starting out, remember not to chase the dream of getting rich quickly. Start with small steps, learn risk management, keep a trading journal, accept that losses are part of the game. If you have already walked a long road and paid a price, remember that you are not alone. Everyone has scars, everyone has fallen. What matters is what you take away from those falls. Trading will not turn you into a millionaire overnight, but if you are patient enough to walk the long road, it can turn you into someone far stronger than you ever thought possible. And if what I've shared resonates with you, if you feel a touch of truth, a bit of raw honesty in a world full of illusions, then walk with me in the next videos. This is Quiet Trading, a place where I don't sell pink dreams, but share the truth, sometimes harsh, sometimes painful, always worth it. Subscribe and turn on notifications so that whenever I share another memory, another hard-earned lesson, you can be among the first to hear it. Perhaps those stories will help you avoid a fall, save an account, or at least remind you that you are not alone on this trading path. Trading is not easy, but you do not have to walk it alone. And I will be here with you on that journey.